Surviving infidelity. 13 years together, 5 years married with 3-year-old son, she wants out. My wife, 32 female, and I, 32 male, have been together for 13 years, and were madly in love for most of it. We traveled South America together, went to university together, had our entire grown-up lives together. We got married 5 years ago and had our beautiful child 2 years later. He's now 3.5 years old. I now believe things started falling apart about a year after he was born. I worked my butt off and was very career-oriented. She always wanted to work with children, so she opened a daycare, with our son as one of the kids in it, just to stay with him a bit longer. She took care of him about 80% of the time, and I barely had 20% of responsibility over him. Problem is, it seemed like everyone were happy with the arrangement, except she wasn't. She started resenting the fact I'm not helping enough with raising him, but only told me about it every few months when we had a big fight. I would try my best to do more, be with him more, work less, but in her eyes, it was always too little. My wife trains in MMA, yeah, she's a bad at, and started training for her black belt test around August 2019. She worked her butt off training for it, while I stayed at home with our son for about 3 to 4 nights a week. I thought I am empowering her and letting her do what she loves. I now know that she started seeing these trainings and her friends from there, as a replacement for the things she wanted to get from me. While she was training, she became very good friends with a guy who trained with her. I encouraged it because he was a really nice guy, has a wife and 3 daughters, and I also became very good friends with him and his wife. We got together during weekends, and our families grew really close, as my wife and him were also getting close as friends and training partners. Then came freaking 2020. My wife got injured and tore her ACL during training. She had to go through surgery in early February, and couldn't try out for the black belt she so desperately wanted. Deep inside, I now know I was angry with the fact she got injured in something that to me was just a hobby. We had her daycare in our house, which was now running with a replacement we brought to do my wife's job. I started working from home during March due to COVID, and I also got a promotion at work, which meant more work, along with taking care of my injured wife and our son. She became depressed in ways I was not aware of. I worked long hours to justify my promotion, and to avoid having to deal with real life. I always thought our situation is temporary, and as soon as COVID ends, she gets back on her feet, and we'll go back to being the great couple we always were. Around mid-September I noticed her texting frantically with someone, and acting very strange. I went to bed that night and couldn't shut my eyes for a second. I considered reading her texts, but gave up on it. The morning after, I asked her if she was cheating on me. She didn't respond. I asked if it was with our mutual friend, the guy from training. She didn't respond. Eventually she told me they were getting really close in a romantic way during the last few months, and that they kissed a week before I found out. Ever since, my life is just one big turmoil. When she told me, she was certain I would pack a bag and just leave her in that moment. But I didn't. After several days of thinking of it all, and after she told me clearly that she doesn't want anything with that guy, and that she kissed him because she didn't know how to get out of our poor relationship and he's not the real issue here, I decided I want to stay and fight for the love of my life. I decided I'll move out of the house, so we can each have our space. Big mistake in hindsight, but I also started taking our son twice a week after kindergarten, and hanging out with him a lot. I started working on myself and go to therapy, and I also started taking real interest in her and her life. But it was all too little too late in her mind. After a roller coaster of emotions, arguments, hugs, kisses and she decided she wants a divorce. Although she admits she still loves me, is attracted to me physically, and thinks I am a great father, she doesn't want to give it a second chance. She's using different excuses as to why not give it a try on different occasions. Most of the time, she says we're not a good fit anymore in terms of our expectations from one another. Other times, she mentions my mom and the way I allow her to intervene in our life as a reason. Sometimes it's just the fact she's afraid to get hurt again. At first, I really couldn't stand the fact she wouldn't give us a second chance. After everything we've been through, she didn't even want to go to couples therapy together, saying she's afraid she'll get hurt again. It maddens me to think there's nothing I can do to save my family life, my marriage. It would have been much easier, though probably more painful, if she would have said she doesn't love me anymore, or if she really had an affair with someone else. I read her text messages with that guy, and saw they agreed on not talking to each other anymore, and that it was a stupid thing to do. So I believe her when she says it's not about him. But if it's not about him, if she still loves me and is attracted to me, how can she so desperately want a divorce? I think she feels shame and guilt about how she betrayed my trust, though she wouldn't admit it. Her close family knows about what she did, and I feel that in some way she must justify it to herself and her family by getting a divorce. Anyway, I am now at the early stages of acceptance. I stopped bargaining, or even begging, with her, and told her I would give her what she wants. We even went to a first mediation session. It is all moving way too fast for me, but it's what she wants and there's nothing I can do about it. These days, I swing from hating her for everything she did, and how she handled things and betrayed my trust, to missing her so much and wanting to let her know how much I still love her, and will always be there for her. It's really tough. I think the worst part for me is, I am a long way from getting over her. Sometimes my mind is so desperate, that I tell myself we're only going through this divorce because she feels bad about what she did, and that we'll get back together after the divorce. So pathetic. It is possible that she feels too much has happened between us, to try and patch things together. I really don't know. What I do know and must accept, is that a divorce will be the end of the road for us as romantic partners. We will always love one another for the great 13 years we had, and for our mutual child, but that's it, and I must accept it. I hope time will help. We are now very amicable and speak daily. I moved close to our home, so I get to come there a lot and spend time with our son. In 2 months, both of us will be moving to different homes. She moves to a different, close-by city, to stay with her brother for the short term, until she decides where to live permanently. She also decided to close her daycare mid-year and notified the parents about it, as part of her overall midlife manic crisis. She claims she can't bear staying at our mutual home with all of our photos and memories. As to why she is shutting it down and moving out, I guess it's not my problem anymore. Now for the top comments. Women don't generally leave marriages over a kiss. Women with children especially don't leave marriages over a kiss. The vast majority of it was just a kiss once stories, are later to be found false, and that a full-blown physical affair did take place. They were in close proximity frequently and it appears you and the other spouse weren't exactly keeping an eye on things. She didn't experience a simple crush or puppy love. She's a grown woman. Adults have ex. If you want my unvarnished take, you two got together too young, you were literal teenagers. Your brains weren't even fully developed yet. You weren't yet matured. You weren't yet aware of all of life's possibilities. You had no real adult life experience. How could you expect to successfully choose a permanent partner at that stage? There is a reason divorce stats for youthful relationships are so high. In the beginning, there was always something to look forward to. Education being completed, grown-up jobs and more financial freedom, marriage, a house, kids, what have you. Whatever she was unhappy with, those little things that niggled at her, would surely fix when XYZ milestone is achieved. Then, one day, there was a marriage and a kid and a household, and she realized, this is it. This is my life. No new milestone to distract from the differences, the incompatibilities, the lack. No future things she can be sure will result in happiness. And that's when she started the detachment process. I'd bet dollars she completed that process with an exit affair with that friend. The good news going forward is that, you can't make the same mistake. Next time around you and your future partner will be fully baked seasoned adults, who know what they want. Sorry to hear, dude. Yeah. She checked out by the sounds of it a while ago. Hence, so easy for her to continue and you're struggling. I was there too. With 2 kids. It's painful to know the end is coming. And there is diddly squad you can do. Only tip is, to start exercise, and look after the kiddo as good as you can. It does get better. How long has it been since your separation? Thanks for the kind words. For now, it's mostly work, drinking, and binging on Netflix. She is likely in limerence with the other guy, and claiming just a kiss is like the oldest lie in the book. She said via text to him, and him to her, that they should stop, but there are so many ways that they can keep in touch on other apps or a burner phone, that there is just no telling. If this is limerence, it will end at some point. Do not be surprised if she wants you back in 6 months, or a year or so. You may or may not want her back at that point. For now, work on yourself and move on with your life. Maybe take up MMA. Thanks to you, I learned a new word today. Not that I like it specifically, but you might be right, and she could be somewhat obsessed with him. I will probably never know. Your suggestion is spot on. Especially taking up MMA. Could be nice, thank you. Now for the next story. My sister, 30 female, is cheating on her husband, 30 male, with multiple men. Advice needed. My sister, 30 female, stay-at-home mom, was recently caught for the second known time in her 10-year marriage engaging in adult conversations with men online. They both have 2 young kids together, 5 female and 12 months male. The first time, her husband, 30 male, eventually forgave her, but has had an extremely hard time trusting her. He's turned to tracking her location, which she describes as extremely controlling. This time around, they got in a fight because he found a secret Snapchat of hers full of photos and explicit conversations. The argument ended with her getting in her car and driving an hour to said guy's house that she was talking to. She ended up going to my mom's, 55 female, house the next day, and has been staying there, going back forth with the kids each day. We suspect my sister has borderline personality tendencies. Her moods are erratic and she makes very impulsive decisions, many being actual. She turns very hateful, and in 1 minute is screaming at the tops of her lungs at her husband or us. This has been going on since her teens, but we are now suspecting it might be an unchecked mental issue. Daily, she acts like nothing is going on. She responds to every inquiry from us, that she is fine and that everything is great, yet her husband is a complete mess. One day she is kind to him, and the next she is screaming at him, through text, to make his mind up, and that she can't wait forever. My mom has caught her meeting up with this man in parking lots a few times since her stay, and says she is smiling at her phone often. We are her husband's only support right now, while he would like this to remain private from their shared friends. He continues to find more photos and texts that prove her infidelity. My mom and I have heavily encouraged couples and individual therapy, which she has started, but scheduling has been difficult, so that will be a waiting game. Today her husband found an accidental screenshot from Snapchat that showed her talking to 5 different men. Is there something my mom and I, 26 female, can do to help shake some reality into my sister's life? She is killing her husband and ruining her own life, but we are afraid she needs to hit rock bottom before any change happens. I was thinking of having us sit down and talk to her in a non-judgmental way, but I'm afraid she will explode and cut us out completely. Is there a way we can step in and help, or do we need to step back and allow this to evolve? Any advice would be appreciated. Tried to cut out some details to keep this shorter. Now for the top advice. You can't help someone who doesn't want help. If anything, you should be helping the husband divorce your sister, and help him out with the kids. Your sister is beyond horrible. I don't know crap about it, but I have experience dealing with someone who was borderline. The woman I knew did have to hit rock bottom before any change happened, and even when the change happened, it was temporary, and she would continuously go back to her old ways. In the end, her daughter was taken away from her, and now she lives with and is married to a woman she's been mistreating for more than a decade. There might be no saving her if she doesn't want to be saved. It's grim, but cutting your losses and making sure her husband gets custody of the kids may be the best thing you can do. Your sister needs therapy. Her husband may as well, due to the trauma being inflicted on him by his partner and mother of his children. Couples anything is a terrible idea. Relationship issues are obviously not at the core of their issues, simply your broken sister. Unfortunately, there is nothing you can do to fix your sister, so you should be looking out for your brother-in-law and niece/nephew. Encourage him to speak with several lawyers, and pick one he's most comfortable with. Then separate and initiate divorce proceedings to get them free from serial infidelity. Help your Bill create a safe and loving home for the kids, while he recovers himself. Bottom line, help the people who deserve and can truly benefit immediately from your help. If your sister hits rock bottom, and starts to want to truly change herself, then you could consider directly aiding her rebuild her life and parental responsibilities. Absolutely do not try to band-aid together the broken marriage/family/household. That's the worst course of action for everyone involved. Thanks for the advice. I agree with many points and plan to encourage him to seek out a lawyer, and to be prepared for anything. Now for the last story. Ex-girlfriend wants me back, but slept with someone else. In the relationship, she hurt me often, to be honest. She was texting, flirting and exting with others, she had contact with her ex, and she once slept at a friend's house after telling me she is at home. She always promised to stop, but it went on for months. I was blinded by love and forgave her for everything. We worked past that, forgot the past, started new, and everything was going well, until she broke up out of nowhere. She has depression since I know her, so I thought it must be because of that. 2 months later, she asks for me back. She says it was because of her depression. She looked me in the eyes and swore nothing physical happened, but that was a lie. She slept with someone only 1 month after breakup. She says she missed me all the time, but she thought she can't fix it, and so she tried to forget me by doing that. I was so hurt, so I sent her home and told her it's completely over. I then realized I still love her, so I told her I'd give her another chance. When she texted me the first time after the breakup, she asked for a chance to prove me her love and to fight for me no matter how long it takes, so I gave her this chance. The problem is, she did basically nothing. She only texted me a bit saying she loves me and she will forever love me, but that's it. I expected her to maybe visit me randomly, or tell me how she wants to fix this, but when I asked her about her plan of how she wants to fix this and how she wants to regain my trust, she said she doesn't know how to do this. The texting got less frequent. She said she is struggling with her depression, and she doesn't want me to feel bad because she feels bad. She texted me she will love me forever, but only every few days. Now the last text was more than a week ago, and she hasn't texted me since. I mean, why does she say she wants to fight for me, but she does basically nothing besides texting me? Now she doesn't text me at all. As you can tell, I still love her and I would love to take her back, but the fact that she slept with someone in the time is killing me. I know it's not cheating because we were not together, but it still feels like it. Also, she lied to me about it, so now I know what a good liar she is. Looking back, I don't know how many times she might have lied to me. There was an occasion where I thought she might have cheated on me, and now that I know she is a good liar, who knows if she ever did. So as I said, she promised me to fight for me, but doesn't text me anymore for more than a week. I would love to take her back because I realize I can't live without her, but I also can't live with what she did. But on the other hand, it's not cheating, so I don't know what to do. I just got these pictures in my head. Any advice or comments on that? Now for the top advice. OP, one thing I've learned in this life is that sometimes when someone says they love you, they are just trying to manipulate you. The problem is, it's a very effective method, especially in your case where you want them to love you like you love them. The truest test of a person's love for you is in their actions. You note that when you were together with your ex, she was texting, flirting and texting with others, she had contact with her ex, and she once slept at a friend's house after telling me she is at home. These are not the actions of someone who genuinely loves and cares for you. My advice? Ignore her. I know what she did was bad and I almost broke up with her, but she fought for me. We talked about that and she stopped and hasn't done that again for the last few months. Then she breaks up out of nowhere. I mean, I know she has depression, but I think that shouldn't be an excuse for such a behavior. You need to cut the cord on the relationship. She texted guys, messaged her ex and then said she was at home but wasn't, all whilst she was with you. Then she jumped another guy's bones when you broke up, probably someone she was speaking to when she was still with you. You need a clean break. Help clear your mind with exercise, good food, listen to Patrice O'Neal, and then finish a TV series on your own. As you get better you will find confidence in there, because you don't seem to have a grasp on confidence in yourself at the moment. Good luck, dude. Sounds to me as though she wanted to break up to try things with someone else, and when it didn't work out, she wanted to come back to you. Please don't be someone's second choice, you deserve better. Anyone who openly flirts and texts with other people while in a relationship is disrespecting you and your feelings. I know that, but luckily, she stopped and we had no problems for months. Then she breaks up out of nowhere. And that's it for this video, guys. If you have thoughts to share, leave a comment below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you like this content. I'll catch you in the next one. Good day, everyone.